watch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing pure sport. This is JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right, welcome into a Football Friday here. You know, it's week 7 in college football already. Dadgum. There's some big games in college football this weekend. I got my Noel stuff on. FSU, Clemson, the number 4 team of the nation coming into Campbell Stadium. The Spear will throw down at 7:30. Night game. It's going to be crazy up there. And they're probably going to lose. Welcome into a Football Friday here on the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations, emerginginv.com, and the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves lawgroup.com. We've got another great show for you today. We're going to dig into the FSU Clemson game, preview that with Pat Burnham from the Rivals Network, the Osceola, at 10:30, and then J.C. Allen will join us at 11:30 from the Pewter Report, host of their Pewter Report podcast, and we will preview the upcoming game with the Steelers and look at all the big games this weekend and try to flush out of our minds and our memories another awful Thursday night football game. My stream wasn't working well last night. I think it was a good thing because it was probably uglier in crisp HD than it was in kind of the out of focus version that I got. Thought I was watching like a porn from the 80s. It was so bad. But it was just bad football. It's just bad football last night. Disgusting. And as much as I like Justin Fields as a competitor, he's got a long way to go as a quarterback. He's got a long way to go as a throwing quarterback. And he's not getting a lot of help from that team. But that was an ugly game last night. That was your assignment last night for Outsider.com, wasn't it, Nick Geddes?
Yeah.
Good morning to you.
Good morning. I'm really drawing the short stick with these schedules, man. I mean, I had Russell Wilson last week and Matt Ryan. I had Justin Fields and Carson Wentz last night.
Wow.
I'm looking ahead to the schedule, and I see now the Broncos, for whatever reason, are on Monday night tonight. And then the Monday after that, the Bears are back on.
The Patriots.
Against
and
probably
it's going to be the Patriots.
Probably, yeah, it could be Bailey Zappi for all we know.
Ugh,
Man.
Bailey Zappi.
Folks, when they say covering football, it ain't as dull as it's made to be at the moment.
Right, yeah.
This sport is brutal to watch when it's
Sometimes,
two bottom of the barrel teams.
Sometimes it's really, really bad. And last night it was really, really bad.
Yes.
I was going back and forth with some people on Twitter about that last night. Why is it so bad? Last year I thought there were a lot of great emerging quarterbacks. And now as I look at them this year and in the off season, maybe not so much. Maybe not. And maybe this is why they feel like they have to do everything to protect the quarterback because there's so many bad ones out there right now. I think that's a big part of this stupid roughing the passer thing is because the quality of football gets so bad. But then I say that, you know who's been some of the best players? Cooper Rush, backup quarterback. Yeah. You know, sometimes we feel like, if we lose the starter, these teams are going to be god-awful. No, not all the time. Cooper Rush has done a great job. A lot of these guys that are starters started as backup quarterbacks. Dak Prescott started as a backup quarterback. You know, so many of them. So sometimes I just think it's the coaches don't know who the best guy is. And, and guys get locked into contracts and big money deals, and you have to play them. And then when maybe there's somebody better on the bench. I mean, we're going to see Kenny Pickett this weekend, and I think from what I've seen, he's miles better than Mitch Trubisky. And I understand why they started Trubisky first. They didn't want to throw the kid into the fire right away. I get that. But I think Pickett's going to be an okay quarterback. Not this week because Todd Bowles is going to blitz the ever-living, you know what out of him because he's going to see it coming, and it's going to be a lot. Yeah. It's going to be a lot. Yeah. And outside of their receiver Pickett.
They got a three-headed monster: Pickens and Deontay Johnson and Chase Claypool.
Yeah, those are some big boys. And I think eventually that's going to be a good group. Hopefully not this week. Because he's got no protection, and they're going to go after him, and it's going to be an opportunity for the Bucs to get some picks.
Yeah,
and they got to hold on to him. Jamel Dean and Carlton Davis are going to play. Mike Edwards has a brace on his arm. He'll probably play. I don't think we're going to see Logan Ryan. I don't think we're going to see Akeem Hicks. We're going to see them probably for a little bit. I don't know if we'll see Akeem Hicks ever again, quite frankly.
Or Leo.
Or yeah, Todd Bowles' body language about Akeem Hicks was not good.
No,
it was just kind of, we just, we don't know. We hope that it'd be better. And I don't think they're very enamored with his ability to get back on the field.
Yeah, you know what else he doesn't like to tell us about is Ryan Jensen. He was asked about Ryan Jensen too.
Who was it? Was it JC that asked that question?
I think it might have been I think it was JC.
Okay, he'll be on. He goes, has the swelling gone down yet? That was a great way to ask the question. And Bowles was like, oh, I don't know about the swelling, because that's the running joke. I mean, it was like 2 months the guy was swollen. Was he on Viagra? I mean, my God, was it still swollen? It's too much. And he kind of said, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
I saw Ryan Jensen at the game. I was actually walking next to him as I was going in the interview room. I said, what's up, Ryan? Looking good. And he goes, yeah, I feel good. He just kept walking. No limp, no nothing. But when you have an ACL like that and it's been repaired, when you get to about the 2 or 3 months.
Has it been repaired? We don't even know.
Yeah, we don't.
We actually don't have it. We have no injury diagnosis on this.
We don't. I just assumed that it was.
No, I don't.
That's right. We don't know.
I don't know what it is, but I mean, you said that, and I saw a video that Kevin O'Donnell put up.
Yeah.
And Jensen was walking, and he looked like he was walking normal. He had no brace on, nothing, just walking free. And of course, it's all about the side to side movement, obviously.
Right.
But the fact that he has no brace on and he's just walking freely, it's like,
yeah.
I got to tell you, I kind of looked. I'm like, I don't see any scar. Like, I don't know. Who knows?
This is interesting because I talked to an orthopedic surgeon about this about a year ago, because I'm so interested in stem cells. I had stem cell therapy myself, and it just worked wonders for me. I mean, it was incredible. My knees were so bad about 5 or 6 years ago. And when I was working at the other station, I was doing a spot for Dr. Locke. So I said, well, I want to try this out. So I went in to Dr. Locke's, and they took the stem cells out of my back. They didn't even use the stem cells they use now basically from embryonic stem cells, which are much better. They use my old ass stem cells, and they take it out of your back, and then they spin it around, then they re-inject it into your knees. And my knee, within, probably a month, my knees were just completely healed. Like no more, because I probably had more pre-arthritis, so it goes in there and it rebuilds all the cartilage and all that great soft tissue. It rebuilds it, and I haven't had any issues for 6 years. And I'm wondering, at some point they're going to probably get away from doing ACL injury and replacements to just working it with stem cells and bringing, if there was a partial tear. If it's not totally torn and you go in there and you shoot it up with stem cells, it repairs that ligament. And so essentially they could do it without surgery. And I'm wondering if this is the way that they're going, and they don't want to tell anybody because it's new, and it's kind of experimental, but I know they're working with these ideas. So who knows?
I'm putting it out there. I have no reason to say this. Obviously, I got no information for anybody, but I think he's coming back.
Well, that's their plan.
I think he's coming back. I think he's coming back, and
this
is, and you know what? This is the problem solver to Luke Gedeke.
Oh yeah,
because this will slide Hainsey back over to left guard.
Yep.
This will put Jensen back at center. All will be well with the world, and we're going to move forward. I think he's coming back, and I think it's going to be. I'm just going to call my shot here right after the
bye week.
Right after the bye week. Yeah.
Yeah, I think. They'll probably go as long as they can if Hainsey can stay healthy. That's the only thing that makes sense because of the reason that they didn't go out and get somebody. To me, it was obvious that they needed to do so. Yeah, they needed to do so, but they clearly felt, but they didn't want to come out and say it because maybe what they're doing is so new and different that they didn't want to count on it, and they'd look stupid if it didn't work out. Who knows? Who knows what's going on? But I know this: they know a lot more than we know.
Yes,
and they're pretty smart. So that's why when I make a lot of these predictions that I do, I look at who's making the decisions, and I'm like, those people are smart. I know what the possibilities are, and this is where it looks like they're doing. So it probably is. And they plan on him coming back. There's no question about that, or they wouldn't have dealt with him the way that they did. And can you imagine if they get him back and move Hainsey over, Julio Jones comes back and is healthy for the final 5 to 6 games? I know that's a big if, but I'm just saying this is what we get bogged down week to week, right? Week to week. And we have to make our calls week to week. They sucked last week in the second half. I'm not going to sugarcoat it, but does that mean they're a bad team? No, it just means they sucked in the second half and they need to be better. And they know that. And to me, the Kansas City game was a great piece of humble pie. It's good. Now we need to get better. And they did in the first half against Atlanta. I thought the defense was better. The offense was better. They stayed up tempo. This offense, if they stayed up tempo the entire time, I don't think you can stop them. When they go no huddle, when Brady goes no huddle, they go right down the field. Now, when you're up 21-0, I get it. You don't want to go no huddle. But you could still go no huddle and bleed the clock, by the way. You don't have to. You can go no huddle and keep their substitutes off the field, but not necessarily go fast. You just have to wait at the line of scrimmage. So there's a lot of different ways to do it. But when Brady can dictate the personnel that's on the field by going up tempo and not changing personnel so the defense can't change, he's in command. And they roll right down the field every single time. Yeah. So I'd like to see them do that more. Obviously, I know you can't do it all the time, but this would be a nice week to see it.
Yeah, and I think they've got 2 weeks. They've got 2 weeks here to figure out what they are. I mean, they think they know what they are, but I think we all watch it and we go, do they? Because they want to be that running football team, but it doesn't work, right? And whenever they they just do the whole let Brady cook thing, I think that's when it works better. So I think you have 2 weeks. You're going up against two teams that are bottom of the barrel in this league. I know the Panthers have a better defense and offense, but still, you should have your way with that team as well. Yeah, that's what I think. You got 2 weeks to figure it out, what you are, who you are, how this is going to look. Because then after that, we told you the schedule kind of ramps up a little bit. You're going to get Baltimore on that Thursday night, I believe.
Yep.
You're going to get Arizona, Cincinnati, the Rams in there. Seattle's been scoring a lot of points, so it's going to get tougher. So I think you got 2 weeks to figure out, and then we'll see what you got.
Yeah, we went through the remaining schedule, and it doesn't look as daunting as it did in the beginning of the year because the Rams are not as good as we thought they were. The Bengals, I'm still confused about what the Bengals are. They've lost a lot of close games, but I still think they're a pretty good football team. They're always going to be dangerous with that quarterback and those receivers. So, yes. And I think they'll get better as the year goes on as well. So a lot of football to be played, but this week, for the Buccaneers is a get right week. The Pittsburgh Steelers are without their entire secondary. Their entire secondary is on the injured list. Whether they play or not, we don't know. But I mean, imagine having a bunch of rookies out there, our younger players going up against Tom Brady, and he goes up tempo, and you can't get off the field. You can't take a breath. You can't do anything. You're in trouble. Yep. You're in trouble. Your head's going to be spinning, and Godwin's going to be running by you, and Evans going to be running by you. I mean, it's going to be – it has a chance to be what the Bills did to them last week, and that's what I want to see. I want to see the Buccaneers match what the Bills did last week and say the Bills are the class of the AFC, probably the class of the NFL. That's what they did to Pittsburgh. I want to see the Bucs do the same damn thing.
I want to see it. I'm skeptical of it happening, but really because Mike Tomlin got his ass kicked last week. Yeah. And I don't recall Mike Tomlin getting his ass kicked like that 2 weeks in a row. He's too good of a coach, in my opinion, to allow that to happen. And, he put a lot of the blame on himself this week. And I know that he's frustrated because it's just not the standard that you expect at Pittsburgh. A 1-4 start. Like, this is their worst start, I think, since 1988, I think.
Yeah.
And that's how bad it is right now for Pittsburgh. And so Mike Tomlin knows he's got to start clicking the right buttons. It's going to be hard with a rookie quarterback. With Kenny Pickett in there against this defense, regardless of who's in the secondary for the Bucs. So I want to see them do what Buffalo did. I just think that because of Mike Tomlin, his presence there is not going to let that happen. Somehow they're going to make this a little bit more of a fight, but eventually Tampa Bay will pull away and win.
I agree wholeheartedly. And that's hopefully what we'll see coming up on Sunday. I got to take a little bit of a departure here because it's been a whirlwind, quite frankly, and it involves Todd Bowles in a very big way. His statement the other day when asked about playing against Mike Tomlin, and then the follow-up question from Jenna Lane, who unfortunately has blocked me. Don't, because I did make it. Well, I'll read my tweet and we can kind of go from there. And it, the tweet I put out got over 400 likes and a lot of discussion back and forth. And unfortunately, when you talk about race, or fortunately, it's going to be a lot of discussion, but a lot of the discussion, unfortunately, devolves into some really stupid stuff, unfortunately. And evidently, as a white person, you can't have a true conversation about race because even if you agree with a black man, you're a white supremacist. I'm not exactly sure how that works, but that's how it works, I guess, now. And so I want to play what Bowles, if you missed it, this has gotten a lot of play, not only on sports talk shows, but national news as well. And I think it's very interesting. It was very interesting back and forth. So here it is.
You
Todd
and Mike
Bowles
Tomlin
from
are two of the
Wednesday.
few black head coaches in the league. I wonder what your relationship is like with them and your thoughts on Steve Wilks joining that fold.
I have a very good relationship with Tomlin. We don't look at what color we are when we coach against each other. We just know each other. I have a lot of very good white friends that coach in this league as well, and I don't think it's a big deal as far as us coaching against each other. I think it's normal. Wilks got an opportunity to do a good job. Hopefully he does it. And we coach ball. We don't look at color.
But you also understand that representation matters too, right? And that when young aspiring coaches or even football players, they see you guys, they see someone that looks like them, maybe grew up like them, that has to mean something.
Well, when you say you see you guys and look like them and grow up like them, means that we're oddballs to begin with. And I think the minute you guys stop making a big deal about it, everybody else will as well.
And that, I guess, was incredibly controversial on a lot of different levels. And as I retweeted it, I said, God bless Todd Bowles for having the courage to say this, that it's the media constantly bringing up color that creates the division in this country. ESPN is the worst offender. I'm glad Todd had the chance to correct many of the ill-conceived notions about this subject. And yeah, 445 likes on that. We had a lot of conversation on it, most of it positive. And, there seems to be, a lot of imagine a white guy agreeing with this statement. And then, of course, a lot of condemnation, not a lot. I would say, as I said, 95% of the people agree with what Todd Bowles said. And Jenna, as the representative of ESPN, probably took that personally when I said that. I don't mean that to her personally, although I think her question was, like a lot of people have pointed out, it sounded like she was lecturing Todd Bowles on this particular subject, and that didn't come off very well, and she got crushed for it. And I was not crushing her specifically. I was crushing ESPN as a company. We've talked about this a lot. They are all in on this type of race baiting and constant, and they're very one-sided about it. Obviously, they're very one-sided. There is never any balance to any of their talking head shows. There's never any balance to any of it. It is all agenda driven, and we've seen it on. And they have been, in my mind, a leading producer of misinformation when it comes to a lot of stuff. We won't get into all the specifics. I mentioned it a lot, but I think it very much is detrimental to our country when you're lying about basic information, when you're constantly pounding this theme. And there you have a black coach who has an opinion that is directly contrary to the Stephen A. Smiths and a lot of other on ESPN. And this is a black man that I'm agreeing with. This is a man that has been through this process maybe more than anybody in the past 10 to 15 years. And he knows what it's like. And he understands that the Rooney Rule is something that hasn't helped these coaches because it puts them in a different classification. It takes them out of being a football coach to being a black football coach, and they don't like it. And this is a nuanced argument that I think a lot of people don't understand. But I think Todd Bowles understands it because he's been through it. When you do this, what you're telling the owners, the owners feel like they're being pressured by the media to hire a minority. And I don't know if you've ever dealt with old white guys that have a lot of money. They don't like to be pressured, and that's on them. And I've always said I feel like a lot of these owners are uncomfortable hiring black coaches. I will say that, and I've said it a lot, and I think there should be more black coaches. But the way of going about it is not to create a quota system. It's not to create something that separates these men as you have to interview them in a Rooney Rule, because that creates this other problem, is that then the owners feel pressured to hire minority. And if they hire minority, it's going to be harder to fire that person if they don't do a good job, it shouldn't be that way. But unfortunately it is. And that's because they feel the media pressure. So in all that, I think a lot of these older, more cowardly owners will just say, I don't want to deal with it. And so you have to understand. And I think at the basis of it all, it's what Martin Luther King said: be judged on the content of your character, not the color of your skin. And that's what Todd Bowles is saying. And if we get rid of the labels and we stop labeling everybody, and in sports, it's the most ridiculous thing because, is Russell Wilson a black quarterback? I don't know. What's the pigment? Is it a white father or is he interracial? When you start picking, you want to label somebody and put them in a box. You can't do that. You can't do that, especially now in America where we're so intermixed. And the more people try to do that, I think the less it helps minorities. Just do it based on the content of their character. That's what Todd Bowles is asking for. I think that's what everybody wants.
I think when subjects like this come up, it's like everybody feels like they have to rush to take one side or the other. And again, we've been over this. Twitter makes it worse because there's no sensible debate going on Twitter. It's just impossible. It's one of the reasons why I stay away from this stuff usually.
Yeah.
But
I get it. And that's,
but I'll tell you this. I think both things can be right. I think you can agree with Todd Bowles. And I also think that you can understand that the NFL has a problem.
Yes.
And
absolutely.
And on this show,
absolutely.
And on this show, if you've listened, we've been very upfront of saying what the problem is and trying to find solutions. And I think about Todd Bowles to the point where when Bruce Arians retired, we recall the statement, right?
Yeah.
And why Bruce Arians did this. Because black head coaches don't get the best opportunities when they get them.
Exactly.
They're set up to fail.
Right.
And Bruce Arians, somebody who's been around Todd Bowles for 40 years, has been a champion for diversity and hiring the best people, regardless of color or anything like that, said, I'm going to step down and I'm going to have Todd Bowles run this team because he deserves it. And I want him to have every chance to succeed. I don't want him to get lost in the system.
Yeah.
I don't want him to go to Carolina. I don't want him to go to wherever, bad team, Houston, and fail.
Right.
I want him to have the best chance to succeed. So I think you put all that into perspective. It's a little different, in my opinion, for Todd Bowles.
Yeah. Yes.
So I think both those things can be right.
Absolutely, they can be. To me, it's more about we agree that there needs to be more black head coaches, but I think we disagree on how to accomplish that with a lot of people. And I think sometimes it's counterintuitive to say, well, if we give them more opportunities and we mandate that they have to have interviews. And I even hate saying it. It's like Todd says, like you say, you guys, like they're oddballs, and I'm saying they, like we have to put them in a box and label them. That's when once you start doing that, that's where all the problems start. That's where all the problems start. If you just let it happen organically, people say, well, if Todd, if we weren't speaking up about it, then it would never happen. True. Is that true? I think speaking up about it actually makes it worse in this situation because you're putting pressure on the owners to hire minorities. And then you have the whole idea of if you have to fire them, it's even more political fire. So they just like they just want to punt on it. I'll just hire a white guy. I don't have to worry about it. That's not what we want.
Yeah.
That's not what we want. So if we try to do, and I think these coaches that have been through it, he's been through it. He knows how it works more than anybody. And for anybody, black or white, to sit up there and tell and lecture Todd Bowles about what this means. Are you serious? Come on. You're going to lecture him about it and tell him about what the representation means? My Lord, are you serious? And that's what I think is the problem. Why don't you tell me, Todd Bowles, you've been in this situation. What would be best? How about you just stop labeling us? Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, and I just don't think it was anything Todd Bowles wanted to get into. He mentioned it. I'm a football coach.
Right.
We look at each other as we just coach ball, is what he said. And I think the NFL culture, they're just like that. Maybe they think maybe in the real world it's different from them, but when they get in this environment, they all look at each other. They're just, I'm a football coach.
Right.
You're a football player. We just go play.
Yeah.
And that's the end of the story.
Always the way sports has been. Sports has always been a meritocracy.
Sports to me has always been that way. And I think we're losing sight of that. Like we're trying to say, oh no, it's really not. And I think we're coming a long way. Like even the whole black quarterback thing. And this discussion started last night again, by the way. I looked this morning. Justin Fields was trending, or no, Ryan Fitzpatrick was trending rather, because last night on the postgame show, he got a lot of flack for saying Justin Fields, the Bears need to know what he's good at and what he's not good at. And he straight up said, he's not good in the pocket. He's not good at throwing the ball. He's not this and that. He's a Cam Newton type guy. And he got a lot of flack for saying that.
Why?
Yeah, you know exactly why.
Yes. And that's stupid. Because his analysis of his play is spot on.
yes, I think it's spot on. But my point with that is, like, he's getting a lot of flack for that. But I think we've come along a much long way the last 10, 15 years of not putting the black quarterback in a box. And I know we tried. A lot of people tried to do
like
that.
It's come back a lot.
It seems like it's come back a little bit. And I think
yeah.
it's the whole. I think Lamar Jackson. It doesn't help that he hasn't gotten that contract yet.
No,
and he was put in that box by, what was it, Bill Polian, that he needs to be a receiver, and then he went on to be an MVP and everything. But I still think in general, there's more black quarterbacks now than there's ever been in the league.
Yeah.
And they're getting paid for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think we are
getting drafted and they're getting paid. I hate saying they. We fall into the same by putting them in a box, but by putting them in a box in that category, that's wrong. I don't even want to talk in that vernacular.
Yeah.
They're not black quarterbacks. They're quarterbacks. That's what they are.
That's what I know. That's what I'm saying. I'm just, for this discussion's sake, I'm just going to point it out. But I wish we could celebrate those things, the advancements we've made. We ignore the advancements. We give it like a little golf clap and we move on to everything else that's bad. And I just think that it's constant negativity.
Yeah.
That is just not good.
And on the heels of what Todd Bowles said, this is like, you can't even make this up, but this actually happened. I'm trying to find the exact okay. Yeah. So this actually happened. Tiffany Cross of MSNBC went on and said, and I don't know who she's obviously a news person, a news commentator on MSNBC. She goes on and says that Tua was basically sacrificed and sent out there to play by his white coach, a black quarterback sent out by his white coach to get hurt, because that's what the NFL does. You can't make this stuff up. You're trying so hard to make a point and put people and label people. But guess what? Tua is Samoan or Hawaiian. Take your pick. Like it even matters. Like we have to classify people but for this exercise, since this woman felt that was a point that she wanted to prove. And by the way, her coach is considered a minority, Mike McDaniel, which again, stupid. Why do we have to label him? She probably looked at him and said, boy, he sure looks like a white guy. Well, that's the point of it, lady. Why don't you just not label people? I mean, you're really going to make these stereotypes and indict an entire league, and you're wrong on both counts? How about we just stop? How about we just stop labeling people? How about we just call them quarterbacks and coaches?
And
ridiculous.
I tell you what, to be honest with you, before the questions were even brought up in the presser, I think it's a good sign that I don't think there was one person who even had brought it up. Like nobody even took notice of it.
And I'm not sure, but because the person that tweeted out the Bowles soundbite is not a person that usually goes to the Buccaneers press conferences. It was a Channel 10 reporter. Let's see if I can find out who it is. And so sometimes what happens is if there's a story that the news director feels like is, kind of sports related, but also news related, like two black coaches coming together in a league that doesn't have a lot of black coaches. And they'll say, oh, well, let's go do a story on this. We'll send a news guy. Because if I'm not mistaken, Todd Bowles has talked on this before and has not been one of those people that wants to go out and, wave the flag of the Rooney Rule because he feels it's counterproductive. And so, but this person came in and asked that question. And then Jenna Lane asked from ESPN asked the follow-up that really pissed off a lot of people. And I understand why. I think it was a very awkwardly worded question. And definitely the way her tone of kind of lecturing Todd Bowles about it did not come off very well. And, I like Jenna, I respect her work, but that to me was not a good look. It was not a good look. And I think a lot of people agreed with that. So if you want to block me, cause I don't think it was my fault, but that's fine. It doesn't hurt my feelings because I think you have to be honest about how you feel about it. And I think a lot of these people in this business are scared to speak up about anything, even when you're agreeing with a black man. They're scared to talk about race, and because of the mob that comes at you. And I think it's cowardly. I think it's cowardly. I think we need to have these conversations, and the less we talk about it, the worse it is. And the less we talk about it and let louder people speak untruths about it is not good. It's not good. That's part of the problem. So even though it's uncomfortable to talk about, I think we need to talk about it in the right way. and listen to people like Todd Bowles because they're going through it. And I think they understand it very, very well. And I'm sure not all black coaches agree with Todd Bowles, but I think most of them, and I even hate speaking in this vernacular, them, I think a lot of them agree. So, all right, we move on. If you guys want to comment on that, please do. You can do that in the comment section on YouTube, on Facebook, and always at FanStream JP, at the JP Peterson Show. We don't have time to read all the comments that came in last night, but overwhelmingly, everyone agreeing with Todd Bowles and my tweet as well, and saying this is overwhelmingly positive on what he said. And I think that's good. I think that's a great place to start. Some of our comments coming in. Nick, you're getting praised for the hat of the year.
Isn't this thing a beaut?
It is.
Look at the little bucko on the side there.
Very nice.
I mean, this thing is baller.
Yeah.
I feel like John McKay right now.
Turn the other way so they could see it.
There it
reverse.
is. There it is.
Yeah.
There you go.
The Bucko Bruce. Yeah. Love it. Very nice. And you got your UCF shirt on.
I am repping my UCF. We'll get to that later in the show.
How'd that look last night? There were a lot more points scored there than there were Thursday.
I was going to say, there was alternatives there.
There were, yeah.
You didn't have to watch that garbage.
There was a good Baylor-West Virginia game last night, too.
Yeah.
It came down to a kick, 43-40.
I was watching the better
West
Big
Virginia.
12 team.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What else we got? Go Knights from Mark Davis. There you go. Richie P says, I feel like Jensen is just going to one day in the next month say, okay, I'm ready. I think that's what the Bucs believe as well. And it'll be interesting to see because they've been so completely they have not been specific about anything about his injury. Do we have that clip from we'll see if we can find it. The actual question to Todd Bowles about Jensen, because the swelling is really an interesting part of it. Gedeke is good for a rookie, but we don't need rookies blocking for the GOAT unless your name is Wirfs. Yeah, I just think, I'm not putting everything on Luke Gedeke. Don't get me wrong. The offensive line has not been great as a whole.
The schedule has not helped him.
Yes,
he has had to face some of the best defensive tackles in the league just back to back to back.
Yeah, that's true too. And it's good for him. He's probably not going to have a tougher stretch in the NFL than. So he has what? Grady Jarrett,
Kenny Clark,
week one, Lawrence against the Cowboys, right?
Cam Jordan was week 2.
Micah Parsons was coming at him too against the Cowboys.
I bet you're going to see some of Cam Hayward sliding near him in this one.
Yeah.
So
Ricky P says, I agree, Nick, hiring minority coaches is a problem. I agree. I've said that a lot. We need to do better, but the way we're going about it is wrong. Putting people in boxes and forcing interviews is wrong. That's that discussion. All right. Tom Brady talked yesterday. Did he not? What is it? What time is it? 10:33. Let's take a break. We'll take a break. We'll come back on the other side, and we are going to be joined by Pat Burnham and talk some FSU football. I've got my FSU repping stuff right here. So quick break. When we come back, FSU Clemson. It's a biggin. It is a biggin for FSU. This is a return to glory game. Can they get it done against the Clemson Tigers? I have my doubts. We'll talk to Pat Burnham from the Osceola Rivals Network. When we come back, stay with us. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group. I've known Scott Jeeves for quite some time, and he's just like us, a huge college football fan. He loves his Gators. In fact, he sponsors our Gator Report every Thursday at 11 o'clock with Scott Carter from FloridaGators.com. But he's not just another PI attorney. He is a ferocious advocate for his clients. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in Tampa Bay for over 30 years. He is an AV preeminent rated civil trial lawyer and certified circuit court mediator. Folks, these designations are not just given out. They're given only to the best trial attorneys. But more than anything, Scott takes these cases personally. I've heard it from his clients. He's a fighter you want on your side. Insurance companies hate it when they see you're represented by Jeeves. He's just different. 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell him JP sent you.
Guys, let me tell you about Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Are you experiencing low sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, and you just don't feel like you have the vitality you once had? You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline as well. Do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability. Not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Call 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's #1 private investigation agency. Give them a call over there. Just go to emerginginv.com, email them or call them if you have an issue that you need a private investigator for. It's a very, very simple process. Just give them a call. They'll walk you through it, what they need to do, what the cost will be, and then you'll be able to figure out on your own whether you need to hire them and get reliable information for life's biggest problems, right? Don't try to do this yourself. If you fear something's going on with your spouse or something, hire a PI. Much better way to go about it. Go to emerginginv.com to contact the great folks over there at Emerging Investigations. All right, let's bring in our good friend Pat Burnham, Osceola Pat from the Rivals Network, covering Florida State football. My friend, how are you? It's a big weekend approaches. Florida, I got my FSU stuff on. I'm repping the Knowles. I don't know what the hell you're wearing there.
I got LA Express. I've gone USFL today.
Nice, very nice. How many leagues have you coached or participated in?
Well, my father coached in USFL, so I was aware, obviously I ran around the locker rooms, was a ball boy and all that kind of good stuff. And then, of course, I worked with the Alliance of American Football, the league that Bill Polian and Charlie Ebersol created. And then this past spring, I actually worked for Fan Control Football, which is the Arena League team that Johnny Manziel and Terrell Owens, among others, play in. So, if there's a spring football league, I'm willing to give it a shot.
I love it. I love it. That's why you know your football so well. You've been at every level.
I try.
All right, so let's wrap up the NC State game last week. And, I mean, there's so much that you've talked about and we've talked about on the Osceola podcast, which we do each and every week. Really fun. Enjoy working with Mark Salva and Fish and yourself. Check that podcast out. I tweet it out every week. We do a whole hour on FSU and college football. But just give me your take on the positives and the negative from the NC State loss.
Well, listen, I think you take the same positive out of that game that you did the Wake Forest game. FSU came out and dominated the first half, both offensively and defensively, and really even on special teams. Fitzgerald made a 47-yard field goal to end the half and give them a 17-3 lead. And then offensively and on special teams, it went out the window in the second half. Florida State could not sustain anything. It did not have the only drive that it had over 17 yards was the last drive, and of course it was sprung by a big play, which Florida State needs in this offense. It did not sustain any drives. But listen, I think, as I told you yesterday, JP, I think this is, and there's some pun intended, I think Florida State will be kicking itself about this game for a long, long time. There were multiple opportunities where a field goal, and I know that Fitzgerald has struggled, but, I don't have a huge issue with the aggressiveness of the at the end of the game, but you go back to the fourth down in the second quarter where they went forward on 4th and 3, dropped a slant, and it would have been a relatively short field goal. But anyway, listen, they didn't play well in the second half. Defense played well enough to win the ball game. Offense didn't help them at all, and special teams didn't either in the second half, and it led to their downfall. Turnovers, penalties, critical penalties, whether it's Dylan Gibbons holding on 3rd and 2 that turned into 3rd and 17, or Mastromanno's kicking the ball past the line of scrimmage. All of those penalties, both those penalties ended up either taking the ball away from FSU or leading to NC State points, and you can't have that.
Yeah, those are the stupid mistakes that they've made in the last 2 games that they didn't make in the first 4 games. And so it leads us in the last play, the interception. I've said this earlier in the week. I applaud Mike Norvell for not playing for the field goal, but the play choice there was idiotic. The execution was idiotic. You don't throw the ball up into danger situation like that. If you're going to throw the ball, it's a rollout, a run pass option, or a predetermined screen, something that you're going to have a high propensity of completing it and getting some positive yards. You're already in field goal range. There's so much wrong with that call. There's so much wrong with the execution. And Jordan has played so well. He's played so well. He's made great decisions all year long. And this was just kind of an anomaly. And I don't think the coaches helped him out in any way. And as I look at forward, Patrick, this is my issue with Mike Norvell. I think he's a tremendous coach, from Sunday to Friday. But I think Saturday we got some issues. And it's not all on him. It's play calling. It's game management. I still feel like he's coaching like he's at Memphis, like he's outmanned, and he has to do crazy stuff from a coaching standpoint to win games, and he doesn't. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, first of all, they're not outmanned this year. I mean, they've competed with everybody they've played against. It's not like this is the this team is nowhere near the 2020 version of Florida State football, which was just a really tough football team. Didn't have a lot of talent, didn't have any depth whatsoever. These things. I don't mind, in life and football and in a football game, you got to take chances from time to time, but you've also got to be aggressive. Being aggressive is great, but there's also an awareness factor that you have to have. These analytics, there's a lot of things analytics don't factor in, right? How you're playing, which way the wind's blowing. I mean, who's
team.
Yeah, I mean, there's just a ton of things that analytics don't call for. And, I go back to the 4th and 3 in the second quarter. To me, if you miss a field, first of all, points were going to be at a premium in that ball game. You were playing against a good defense. You had a chance to get 3 points on the board. I understand that he wants 7, and I understand that analytics tell you to go for it. But analytics probably don't tell you that you're playing the top one of the top run defenses and top defenses in all of college football. They don't factor that into it. It's as far as I know, everything is equal. But listen, over the course of time, Mike is going to have to be more successful in those decisions than he's not, or it will. Listen, people are going to start. Having issues with it, right?
I'm not saying fire the guy. That's not what I'm saying. I just
I know what you're saying.
He needs to get better in that way. I know a lot of people are like, oh, we're gonna go get Dion. No, let's
we're still way from that now. This team is 4-2, and its losses are to ranked teams.
I know.
So, let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater just yet.
Like golf group is like, well, why don't we just go get Dion now? He's going to get all the players, and it's all about the Jimmies and Joes. And look, it's hard to argue that sometimes. I think wherever Deion goes after Jackson State, I think he's going to be tremendously successful because he's going to get all the great players and going to get some great NIL deals. Nobody knows money and selling like Deion Sanders.
Well, listen, I do too, but Deion will be successful wherever he goes. He's been successful with whatever he's done. But listen, JP, I don't think most people realize that there will be a learning curve for Deion if he goes to a major college football program. It's a very difficult job. That's why you see it's a failing. You see more coaches get fired than are successful, right? So, listen. I have certainly not pulled that trigger yet. I mean, that is way over the top for me.
This team is
4-2 and has a very good shot at going to a bowl game this year. Should go to a bowl game this year.
No question. I want to play my man's UCF team here, but I think they're going to be playing on New Year's Day. I don't think we will.
Picking on Temple last night.
I know, right? That was so mean.
You say it.
Hey, by the way, that was a horrible video of Gus in that blue space suit.
No.
Yeah, what was that?
No.
Yeah,
what was that?
No,
it was beautiful.
You would have to be a UCF fan to like that video. It looked creepy to me. I'm just saying.
What is this absolute obsession with having old white guys that are coaches dance and do stupid stuff and uniforms and all? It's like, can we stop this?
Hey, I bet Brian Kelly dresses up as Steve Irwin Saturday in the swamp.
I want to see it.
The Crocodile Hunter. He's going to come dressed as the Crocodile Hunter. It's the Brian Kelly 2022 impersonation tour.
And he could get on the 360 video thing with and do his whole thing. That would be great. Pat Burnham joining us here from the Rivals Network, the Osceola. All right, so let's get down a little bit of the X's and O's of this game. Clemson's getting a lot of guys back on their defense that's already good. Tyler Davis, Miles Murphy, Brian Brees is a first-round pick they're going to have back. This team, to me, especially defensively, is just starting to really, really click, and they're getting healthy. And this is why I think FSU is going to lose this game. Offensive line has been better. There's no question about it, but they're going to face an elite group this week, and it's going to be really, really tough, I think, for the Knowles offense to run the football or give him any protection. What are your thoughts on that?
Listen, I think this is going to be the best defense they faced. A really good defense last week, but this one's a little bit better than that. The front in particular, as you mentioned, KJ Henry's the defensive end that's played instead of Xavier Thomas, who was hurt. Now, Xavier Thomas came back last week, played 6 snaps against Boston College, had 2 sacks, which ties him for second on the team. Then you're going to get Brian Breezy back, who's missed 3 games this year, and who was almost a lock first-round pick when he decides to come out. And Tyler Davis and Miles Murphy. We don't even talk about Miles Murphy very much.
I know, right?
Listen, and then their linebacker. You got a young group of linebackers that's playing really well. Listen, it's going to be a tremendous
play well behind that group. I mean, my God,
it's going to be a tremendous challenge. And as you mentioned, they have struggled in the secondary. They're 95th in yards given up passing per week, and they've had 5 of their top 8 guys in the secondary have not played in every game this year. So they think they're going to be healthy. I spoke with Larry Williams from Tiger Illustrated, the rival site for Clemson, and he's anticipating that this will be the healthiest Clemson has been all year on defense. And obviously that does not bode well for Florida State's offense, which obviously struggled in the second half against NC State. They're going to have to listen. They're going to have to make some plays in the pass game. They've been very good at that. They're one of the best teams in the nation at producing plays over 20 yards. It's going to be hard to find those plays in the run game, so they're going to have to find them in the pass game. They're going to have to set themselves up, and they're going to have to make some field goals, JP. They're going to have to get and score it in the red zone. It's going to be hard to score against Clemson in the red zone. They're going to have to make some field goals. But listen, and they got to find just enough sustainable offense in the run game. Listen, we don't expect them to run the ball very well. Nobody does. Nobody has against Clemson, 63.7 yards per game given up. So listen, it's going to be a tremendous challenge. But Florida State's receivers need to get back to catching the ball. And Jordan Travis you're going to have to use his legs a little bit to expand that running game. And I think, but you're going to have to throw the ball successfully to beat Clemson.
Yeah, they're going to have to get that ball outside, outside screens. Don't try to run inside. Just get the ball outside, get the ball downfield outside, throw some 50-50 balls up for Johnny Wilson and Micah Pittman. And who's this guy, Jakai Douglas, that's been playing well at practice? Did I see a tweet on that?
Yeah, it sounds like Jakai is going to be back, and obviously he's a guy that they were expecting a lot out of coming into the season. He got hurt early, and he's a guy that transformed his body, and he can play. He can line up in the backfield. He can line up in the slot, and he's runs with great balance and vision, and will definitely benefit this offense.
All right, so we'll see if they're going to be able to move the ball. And then we flip the other side of the ball. DJ, say it.
Ukulele. I can't. I don't know.
Uyungalele.
I still haven't learned since yesterday.
DJU, as you like to call him, has gotten much better. He's much more accurate. They don't have necessarily a tremendous receiving core, but they have Will Shipley in the backfield, who's one hell of a back. Already has 8 touchdowns this year. He's a red zone machine. How do you think the FSU defense will fare? And will Fabian Lovett play? What's the health of the FSU defense?
Well, listen, we saw a tremendous amount of guys on FSU's defense leave the game for at least short periods of time against NC State. That is my biggest concern going into this game. Who's available and how healthy are the healthy? Listen, we hear it all the time. Everybody's nicked up this time of year, and that's true. But listen, all indications are that Clemson is as healthy as they've ever been, particularly on defense. Florida State does not look to be as healthy as it was. We saw Verse come out of the game the other night. Jackson, Cooper, Ray all came out of the game. Tatum Bethune, I think, left the game for a brief time, as did Kevin Knowles and Jamie Robinson. Now, listen, all those guys except for Cooper came back in. Cooper was at practice, and he's expecting to play from what we can gather. But you do have concerns over how FSU's defense will be able to sustain that, slow down that offense that has improved from a year ago. They're still not, you're not going to confuse this with a 2018 Clemson offense, but you're also not going to confuse this Clemson offense with the offense they had last year. They are running DJ with purpose and success this year. He was not as successful running the ball last year, even though he ran about the same number of times through 6 games. But listen, they got 2 really good tight ends. You mentioned the receivers. No, there's no T. Higgins or one of those guys out of this group, not yet anyway, but they've got 7 guys that are in double digits in catches, and they have arguably 2 of the best pass catching tight ends in the college football right now, particularly in the ACC, and 2 guys that they feel are complete tight ends that can help in the run game. So listen, to me, you're sometimes it's about when you catch people and how healthy they are versus how healthy you are. And I think that's going to be a huge part of this. Now, that being said, as you and I talked about yesterday, Florida State's only a 3.5-point underdog. I don't think this Clemson team is unbeatable by any stretch of the imagination. And Florida State has played toe-to-toe with everybody that's played so far. So I expect Florida State to give a tremendous effort. But I'm kind of like you. I just think that this matchup, this particular week, does not bode well, as I've picked Florida State in all 5 of the first games. But if I'm being honest with myself, between where they are health-wise and and Clemson being very healthy, particularly on defense with Breezy and Xavier Thomas coming back, that could make for a long day for FSU's offensive line.
I would agree.
Yeah, and you mentioned being outmanned. They weren't outmanned in the NC State game, and I think we just kind of covered all parts there. They feel like they're outmanned in this one because of health, and it's the wrong time for this. And you mentioned Jared Verse, and when he's not out there, the entire defensive line in general just looks completely ordinary. I mean, it's in many ways the Jermaine Johnson effect. But when he's out there, even though he's not healthy, he's still clearly the best player. But problem is, it feels like this is like a reoccurring a theme here. I mean, do you think this is just something this is gonna be a whole year thing because he's gonna want to play every single week, and then he's just gonna keep getting nicked up like this?
Well, listen, you're going to get nicked up. And the play he got nicked up on, I mean, he took a really hard hit. I mean, he took on a double-team block, and the running back came at him. He was, I think, jumping up in the air trying to knock down a pass, if I recall correctly, and he just got had it up by the running back. But listen, you want Verse in as much as he wants to play, right? I mean, he is a difference maker. He plays with a tremendous amount of energy. And listen, if you can have him and Patrick Payton on the field at the same time, Patrick Payton's really come onto the scene. Had a really good game against NC State. A young guy, but he plays with a high motor, just like Verse, different type of player, not a little bit longer, leaner than Verse. But listen, Verse is a different guy. And you've been without Fabian Lovett for now going on 5 weeks if he doesn't, or 6 weeks if he doesn't play this week. And I don't think any of us expected the drop off to be quite as significant as it has been without Fabian. And they played well against NC State. Don't get me wrong, but there has been a drop off at the interior tackle positions without Fabian. So you'd love to get him back. Jarrett Jackson, quite honestly, has not played up to, I think, his potential. And then Malcolm Ray has been solid, but Malcolm got a little nicked up on Saturday night in Raleigh. How healthy is he? But to your point, they are a much better defense when Verse is in there. Obviously, you got one of the things that they can do because of Patrick Payton's development is slide Dennis Briggs down in the middle of the defense into that 3 technique spot. He played there last year very successfully before he got hurt. So there's some things they can do. But to your point, Nick, yes, they do seem to be a different defense when Jared Verse is in the game. And you've got to hope that he is healthy enough. I think he got 20 plays 2 weeks ago against Wake Forest. I know he played a heck of a lot more than that against NC State. But you got to hope that he can go as many plays as it takes.
Well, I think it's going to be a long night for FSU, but you never know in that environment what happens because it's going to be on. All right, it's packed. It's a sellout, right, Pat? College Town's going to be rocking tonight. I know they're going to probably have the big party going on with the band down there in College Town, and we're expecting a huge crowd. Night game, the Spears going down at 7:30. So there's some magical things that have happened on Seminole Saturday night. So you never know. I'm thinking Clemson with my head, but obviously my heart will be with FSU.
Yeah, it's hard to pick Clemson, even as good as they might be. But yeah, listen, it's gonna be an interesting game. I do think that I'm not, like we said, this is not an unbeatable team. I'm just not sure they're catching Clemson at the right time on their schedule, particularly after the last 2 games where they have played very emotional and physical football games.
All right, well, let's hope we come back next week and we're doing our mea culpas and saying, I'm sorry we doubted you, FSU.
I have no problem admitting when I'm wrong, and these are the times when I want to be wrong.
Absolutely. All right, great stuff, Pat. Tell everybody how they can get to great content at the Osceola and the Rivals Network.
Yeah, just go to floridastate.rivals.com. We've got on our premium recruiting board, we've got a list of confirmed visitors for this weekend, a huge weekend for recruiting.
I didn't ask you about that. You want to give me a little recruiting update?
Well, they've got just about everybody that's committed for 23 coming. Most of the guys that don't play on Saturday down south. There are several. Luke Kromanek, the quarterback, 2024 quarterbacks committed is coming. Also, Camden Fryer, 2024 wide receiver. They got kids coming from South Carolina. I communicated with yesterday. Listen, it's a big weekend for them. Several official visits this weekend. And then of course, so we've got that news. And of course, as JP alluded to, we got our Osceola Tailgate podcast / videocast that just went up on the site this morning. You can go to YouTube, the Osceola, and actually subscribe, and you will get notifications if you sign up for notifications anytime we put up video content. And we've got a ton of it, but also we've got our Keys to Victory we'll be publishing today, and then our Osceola FSU versus Clemson preview, which is a lot of information for FSU fans on the Tigers. Kind of breaks them down a little bit on all 3 phases of the game.
It's the best in the business. If you're an FSU fan, head on over there to the Rivals Network and the Osceola. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Y'all have a great weekend. Hey, remember to tell NFL that's tackle football still.
We're working on that. Yeah. Thank God that hasn't infected our college football yet. Thanks, Pat. Appreciate it.
All right, guys.
Yeah, we went over that on the tailgate show, and it's just it's. I saw some hits last night on Justin Fields that weren't called. Oh my!
Yeah, you remember when he tried to dive into the end zone there in the goal line, and I swear he got nailed like right in the head.
Yeah,
and there was nothing called. And then the throw that he made to Pettis for the touchdown too,
destroyed.
He got just put right back on his ass.
Yeah. It's ridiculously bizarre. All right, we'll take a break. When we come back, we'll hear from Tom Brady. He spoke yesterday. It's very interesting conversation on many levels, including his new pickleball team. He talked about that. So we'll do some Tom Brady when we come back. Quick break. We're brought to you by Emerging Investigations and the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Back at 3. Stay with us. Was your car totaled in an accident? Did your insurance company use Kelley Blue Book or NADA to appraise the value of your car? Chances are they didn't, and you got shorted maybe thousands of dollars. Call the Jeeves Law Group for a free case evaluation because your insurance company may still owe you money. 727-894-2929. It's a free call, so why not find out if you have a case? Insurance companies have been running this scam for a while, and most folks don't know if they've been shorted. Trust me. Scott Jeeves is a different kind of attorney, the kind insurance companies hate to go up against. He could recover thousands of dollars, so why not call 727-894-2929 or go to JeevesLawGroup.com. That's JEEVES lawgroup.com and tell them JP sent you.
JP here for Emerging Investigations, Tampa Bay's premier investigation agency. Do you suspect your spouse is cheating or involved in a divorce, that your spouse is hiding money, an ex-employee or current employee with suspicious behavior? Is there a criminal matter you need help with? If you need information you can count on, using the professionals at Emerging Investigations is a slam dunk. Emerging Investigations is a licensed and insured private investigation agency, family-owned. Emerging is your ideal resource to secure evidence and validation, allowing you to make informed decisions in life's biggest matters. Led by industry executive Brian D'Antonio, Emerging possesses the experience and resources to get needed results. Emerging Investigations maintains an excellent reputation as a premier investigation agency. They are known for results. You're not just hiring a PI, but an dedicated team using state-of-the-art technology. Their proven investigative methods produce crucial information used in criminal cases, insurance fraud, and personal injury claims. Many local attorneys, industry agencies, and your concerned neighbors all count on Emerging Investigations. Just go to their website, emerginginv.com, or call 813-291-FACT. That's 813-291-FACT-3228. Get results you can trust in life's biggest matters. Emerging Investigations. Now is the time to make sure your home insurance is in order. In the last year, many of us have made improvements to our homes. So call the folks at Italiano and discuss these upgrades to make sure you have enough coverage. According to a recent report, almost 64% of homeowners don't have enough insurance on their home, which is their most valuable asset. Also, a great time to make sure you have flood insurance. Even if your mortgage company does not require flood insurance, your home could still be at flood risk. Another big item as we enter hurricane season is making sure your pool enclosure is added to your policy and there will be no issue at claim time. That happens a lot. So call your friendly agent at Italiano Insurance to review your policies today. 813-877-7799 or ItalianoInsurance.com.
Hey guys, Serena Fazan here for the Gold and Diamond Source. Are you looking for the hottest trends in men's jewelry? Ladies love to see men spice it up with something cool from the Gold and Diamond Source. Whether you're looking for a gold chain, fashion rings, even a pre-owned Rolex watch, or thinking about getting engaged, there's only one place to go. Go see my friends, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Golden Diamond Source for your one-stop jewelry supercenter. It's never been more important to shop local and support the businesses that support our amazing Tampa Bay community. None better than the great folks at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Ulmerton Road, or online at goldendiamond.com.
Let's go. Right now, back to the show with JP on FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the second hour of the JP Peterson Show on this Football Friday. We're going to talk to JC Allen from the Pewter Report at 11:30, so we'll talk more Buccaneers. Lots of Buccaneers, a lot of college football today. We'll hit a little bit of the NFL last night and some of the big matchups coming up this weekend. We are brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center. Chris Lugo and his team over there. Chris was on a couple weeks ago talking about nutrition and We've posted that interview up there, as they have also done at BAMMC.com. If you want to check that out, if you're into nutrition, and he does a great job with it, folks. And we tell you, if you're interested in losing weight or just getting healthy, leaning up, and becoming more healthy in your lifestyle, this is what the BAMMC does so good. Bay Area Modern Medical Center, because Chris has a couple of degrees in nutrition from University of Florida, works with our National Guard, work with our top pilots, keeping these guys in tip-top shape, and he will do the same for you. It's the latest and greatest techniques, and it will work for you. It'll work for you. BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center, and Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com.
I could have used some advice from Chris this morning. I'm not going to lie to you.
What'd you do? What did you do this morning?
Well,
did you go to McDonald's again?
No. Should I tell that story of what I did yesterday?
You should, yeah.
I got up extra early yesterday because I had it in my mind. I'm going to Dunkin' this morning. I'm going to get a nice donut and some coffee because I'm a Dunkin' Donut savant.
I love Dunkin' Donuts.
I love Dunkin' Donuts.
Love
I hate
Dunkin'
Starbucks.
Donuts. Yeah.
Okay. The Dunkin' line was too long. So I said, okay, I'm just going to go to the Dunkin' on Gandy instead.
Yeah.
So I drive up I'm getting to Gandy, and this connector always just fools me.
The new Selman elevated connector, yeah.
And I got on the connector, and I'm like halfway on, and I was like, wait a second, Dunkin'.
Yeah.
But now I'm stuck. So
you can always do a U-turn right at the end. That's how I get to Hooters.
I wasn't in the frame of mind.
Yeah, you could do it. Just get off and do a little U-turn, and you go back. It's sometimes actually faster to go that way than it is to go the other way.
So now it's 2 strikes on me.
All right.
Okay.
So you're just going to go all the way across the Gandy. What's the next opportunity?
So I turned left there, and was it 4th Street or whatever?
Yeah.
There's a bunch of stuff. Couldn't find a Dunkin'.
Yeah.
I found a McDonald's, though.
Yeah, there's McDonald's right there.
Okay, found a McDonald's.
Right there on the right side.
It took forever.
No, well.
Fast food is not fast.
Fast food's not fast
It's
anymore.
Not fast.
It's not.
It's not
terrible.
fast at all.
It's not good for you, and it's not fast anymore.
Yeah, and then I did all that, though. I rolled in. I probably took about 20 minutes off of my trip just going into fast food lines yesterday, just so I could get.
Was it worth it?
No, it was not.
Yeah.
But what was not worth it was yesterday. Remember how I told you I cooked? Fun fact: I cooked Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Wow.
On stovetop.
Wow.
Which is amazing. I mean, that's probably the most I've ever done that.
Yeah. How'd it turn out? Not good?
Great.
Yeah.
But last night I was covering the game and I was really busy.
Yeah.
A lot of things going on, and I didn't have time to cook. It was like 9:00. So, like everybody, I ordered a pizza.
Uh-huh.
I ordered some pizza and wings from Pizza Hut, and
how'd that go?
Not a smart decision.
Really?
I felt like crap. Still feel like crap. So
wow.
I need some advice from probably Chris on when you're in a pickle like that. What's the best option?
Well, here's the thing, and I'll tell you right now, because I talk to Chris about this all the time. You got to go to the grocery store. This is a preemptive strike. You got to have food in the house. If you have food in the house, you're not going to, and you understand that even now Uber Eats takes forever. It's expensive. Everything's expensive. It takes forever. Cooking food is not hard. And especially now with what's available in the frozen food section. Oh man, and a lot of it is really, really good and nutritious. And you just pop it in the freaking microwave and you got a meal. And it's not like the old TV dinners that I grew up on.
No, they're not.
With the little corn and Salisbury steak.
The hungry man.
The hungry man. That was some real crap right there. But they've got some really good stuff now that, for $3 or $4, you can get a really good meal.
I went.
You just pop it in a microwave.
I don't even bother with like Publix anymore because Publix is expensive. I go to Sprouts and this place called Fresh Market. I don't know if you're familiar with
Fresh
that.
Market. Aldi is good too.
Yeah.
Got good. Trader Joe's got good frozen food. Frozen food is, it's not the greatest thing in the world, but it's way better than waiting in a line now to get bad food. And expensive food.
No, literally, a
really
delivery fee and a tip to the driver.
Oh, it's crazy.
Added about $11 or $12 onto it.
So
for what reason?
So you're at a pizza and wings for what? $30 now?
$27.
Oh my god!
For a pizza and 8 boneless wings.
You could have got 6 frozen pizzas for that.
Yeah, I didn't make a smart
decision. By the way,
decision.
frozen pizza. I'm not gonna lie. They've captured to me a good frozen pizza, hot right out of the oven, is way better than most delivery stuff you get. It's not delivery; it's DiGiorno. It's not bad.
Are you a DiGiorno? Are you a DiGiorno?
I like DiGiorno. Of the frozen pizzas, I think who makes a great frozen pizza, a regular pizza, is Walmart.
Really?
Have you seen the Walmart pies?
No, I'm not really a Walmart shopper.
Every once in a while I'll pop in and they have some great value. You can get like this giant pie for that you would pay maybe $30 for, and it's good. It's really, really good. It's not great, but it's better than waiting 45 minutes or an hour to get a pizza that's going to be cold. You know, that's the thing about some of these great delivery pizzas. We go to Eddie and Sam's a lot because it's right it's right downtown. You go and get it. It's, 2 slices is like a whole pie. And that's fantastic. That's one of my favorite pizzas. Sally O'Neill's is fantastic. I got a lot of my mom and pop places that I like to go. But just if you're just quick, it's why you grab a couple pizzas while you're in Publix. It's not bad.
I have no shame. I lived off the little
Aldi or wherever you go.
I lived off the little Tostinos, the tiny little things in college.
Those are bad. Those are bad for you, but God, they're good. They're bad, but they're good.
Look at this, man. I mean, every time we talk food, we start a nice discussion here.
Yeah.
In the comments.
Screaming Sicilian is a good. Yeah, there's some really, really good frozen pies out there.
He said home run in as a Chicago guy.
Yeah, not a bad one at all.
I sympathize with this comment. This is why I don't go to Publix. Everything's BOGO, and you still spend $150 when you walk out.
You know what?
That's why I don't do it.
You know what, though? I shop at Publix, and I almost exclusively shop BOGO. And when you're shopping BOGO, you're getting good value.
You're getting good value
when you shop BOGO. I mean, you get like 2. Usually they'll have a frozen pizza on sale, and it's usually one of the good ones.
They make good pizzas in their frozen section.
They do.
I get those.
Absolutely. And you can get 2 for $6, 2 for $7, and they're not bad. They're not that. Now, Chris Lugo would kill me for this. Oh, don't eat that crap. But there's some really good frozen food, and a lot of, if you want to go high quality, you're still going to pay a little bit more, but it's way better than Uber Eats and waiting in line these days. I mean,
if you're getting your frozen food, just again, no Hungry Man, no Marie Callender's, please. None of that stuff. And for God's sakes, can we please stop?
See, Lonnie Wilkins said Walmart flatbreads are solid, JP. Yeah, they load on the toppings.
But real quick before we move on, but the one thing that needs to be eradicated from all stores is the chicken pot pies that are in the frozen section. Stop making chicken pot pie a thing. Chicken pot pie is the nastiest dish I have ever seen with my eyes. I've never had it. I don't want to have it. Split peas are a joke to society.
You've never had a chicken pot pie, bro?
No, it's disgusting. Those little green dots they put on all those things, it ruins every dish. It ruins every dish. Don't put it on my yellow rice. Don't put it on
green
anything.
Peas?
No.
Love green peas.
No.
Green peas and mushrooms?
No.
Oh, so good. No, but I got to tell you this. I freaking grew up on chicken pot pies. Because I was, my mom was always working, so I had to learn how to cook. And for me, learning how to cook was putting a chicken pot pie in freaking microwave. And they got so many calories in them. They're not great for you,
Nasty.
but a good chicken pot pie, guys, tell him. A good chicken pot pie? Are you kidding me? With dumplings in it? Good chicken?
A chicken pot pie with
it's
grandma.
So good.
Well, Lonnie said a chicken pot pie with grandma on a winter morning is what they're all about.
Tell him, Lonnie. Tell him, Lonnie. I mean, on a cold day, a chicken pot pie with a good crust.
I feel like that's an age thing, though.
Dude.
My generation's not eating chicken pot pie.
Yeah, probably not. My dude, though. Chicken pot pie is
We're eating pizza rolls.
Yeah.
That's what we're eating.
Yeah. Well, chicken pot pie is a hell of a lot better than pizza rolls. I'm telling you.
Stop.
You've never had one?
No, and I don't want one. It looks disgusting.
Oh, it's so
just like a bunch of mush in the middle of a whatever you call that outside layer.
Good. All right, let's get to Tom Brady, who spoke yesterday.
He's not eating any of this stuff.
No, he's not eating a chicken pot pie.
Which I took his advice and got this organic coffee here. Sucks.
You bought the TB12 organic coffee?
I shopped with the TB12 method the other day at Sprouts, and I said, I'm going to be really good. And yeah.
How'd that go?
I flamed out. I flamed out after 3 days, clearly. Jeez.
3 days into TB12, he's ordering Pizza Hut and wings.
with some damn pineapple on it. And no, we're not having this discussion because pineapple belongs on pizza.
Never. Boston Market chicken pot pies are always sold out $4.99. They are, Thomas Casper. Those Boston Market chicken pot pies, oh damn, they're good. Back in the day, Boston Market was good, and then they started chintzing on everything, and it got bad. It got really, really bad.
Anyway,
yeah.
Let's get this on.
I talk food all day long. Tom Brady yesterday. What do we got in his Godwin shirt? He said he was the only thing he had clean in his locker, so he busted out this Godwin shirt, which I like. So, yeah, here we go. Tommy Brady yesterday. It's some interesting things to say.
How you guys doing?
We're good.
I was asking Byron about, you've been in so many situations with so many different players, right? New players. But this is one where you've got a lot of rookies in big roles, whether it's injuries, whether it's whatever. It's Cade, it's Rashad, it's okay.
Yep.
So what is it like for you to, to try to keep that patience and also, be productive and understand they may not be where they're going to be in 6 weeks?
I think it's always tough to put too much on the rookies. It's just a lot I just remember when I was a rookie, it was a very challenging time. You just don't have the experience to kind of make all the right decisions. So when you play with veteran players, there's a degree of confidence you have just because even though you may have not have talked about something, they'll still do it basically the way that you want it. It may not be exactly right, but pretty close. Rookies, it's hard. There's a huge learning curve. So it's just important. And Byron does a great job of making sure when they are in there, they're doing things that we're all confident in them doing, and not putting people in positions to not do well. So, you got to do the best you could do. Every team has young players. Every team has veteran players. Every team has guys who haven't played much. So it's what everyone deals with. You just got to do the best you could do. You'd wish that you'd have a veteran group that could play every play for 16 weeks, 17 weeks, but not the reality. So the guys we have in there are doing a good job, and we're going to keep pushing and keep trying to keep the pressure on everybody to try to make us a better football team.
Tommy, you're all about winning rather than stats, but you guys have scored an awful lot of points over the last 2 years, averaging around 30 points per game. And a couple of weeks ago, you were running down the list of all the new players that you have, and it kind of speaks to Rick's question about having the patience with all of these younger players. But is there a level of frustration sometimes for you that is not as prolific on offense as it has been over the last 2 years to start the season as you're going through some growing pains collectively?
I think there's always a degree of frustration in football, period. So, you want it to go right all the time. It doesn't do that. So they're really good on the other side of the ball. They're forcing you to do things you're not so good at. So you just, we're trying to win the game and we're trying to improve. And, it's not always going to be your best quarter of football every single time out. So you just got to have patience and you got to do your best to stay focused and try to execute as well as you can based on the circumstances.
These AFC teams are probably the programs you know best for your career. You've gone up against a lot of Pittsburgh teams.
Yep.
What do you expect from a Mike Tomlin defense?
It's just very good, very sound. He's a great coach. He's been a great coach since he's, got into the league. Guys always play hard. They've got some great players, always have. It's a great fan base, great stadium, tough place to play. So it's a big challenge for us. They didn't play the way they were capable of at Buffalo. I'm sure they'll be ready to go. I know they have some injuries they're dealing with. We're dealing with some injuries. So, we got to put a lot into it, and we got to go out there and do our best.
We already talked to you about the Grady Jarrett call, and you said, hey, I don't throw the flags. But something like that happened again on Monday night. And
yeah.
I know you're all about competition too. So how does the league find that happy medium between protecting you guys and at the same time still ensuring that, there's competition on the other side of the ball?
What's the question?
Just how the league can find a medium between protecting you guys as quarterbacks and at the same time, you still get a competitive product, with guys on defense. You still allow them to be able to do some of the things they need to do.
Wow, that's a long question.
For sure, yeah. No one wants any missed calls, or I think that's just, you don't want to miss pass interference call. You don't want to miss holding call. You don't want to miss illegal contact call. They don't want to call on them. It's just, I don't know. We're trying to eliminate every missed penalty. Is that what every batter wants? Every strike called perfectly. And, I don't know how you do that. So.
And also from a safety standpoint, it seems like for instance, with Jones, he put his body weight on Derek Carr. That's not a new rule.
Trying to recover a fumble.
We see a lot more of that being enforced.
I think there's tough rules, there's tough calls, it's tough enforcement, it's tough for the players, tough for everyone. I think the game's changed. I alluded to that earlier, in the year. There's a lot of things that I see that are probably pretty challenging to officiate. They're probably challenging to play defense with. I don't have all the answers to all those, I don't think the referees are robots. I don't think they're trying to get it wrong. I don't think they're always going to get it right. I feel bad for a guy when they get called something that probably shouldn't be that way. And sometimes you just got to shake it off. I've lost Super Bowls because I thought they missed a call, So I don't know. You go, all right, well, you're going to get some, you're going to not get some. And you hope they don't come up, but they come up. It's sports. So the fact that everyone wants to talk about it like it's something new, it's always been like that. So you just do the best you could do. You try to keep it in your hands the best way you can. And if you get an unfortunate thing that happens, it's unfortunate. It really is. And I don't think anyone's trying to scheme anyone out of that, or it's just the way sports are. I miss throws, refs miss calls, but we try to do the best we can do. And when they don't go your way, you just complain to the refs like I do. So
let's stop it down there for a second.
This season still.
It's a great answer. And obviously Brady doesn't want to get into the back and forth of roughing the passer. That doesn't do him any good. But the bottom line is he's absolutely right. Missed calls are missed calls. What gets the league in trouble is when they start to emphasize certain things. And it seems more like Jason Whitlock wrote a great column on this earlier in the week. It seems like there's sometimes there's some agenda behind this. Like, what are we doing here? Like, we're trying to make football the safest sport in the world. It's not. It's not a safe sport. And the players will be the players that I've talked to hate this the most. They want contact in the game. They want to be able to play tackle football. They don't want to have all this stuff legislated, and they don't care about the risk. And I think people get it twisted, and I think the NFL gets it twisted, frankly. The reason that the NFL lost that lawsuit about CTE and concussions is because they withheld the information from the players. And they knew it was bad, and they needed to tell the players about it, and they didn't. Now the players know about it, and the players know how to protect themselves, and the players also know what the risks are. So I don't know why, and is there some feeling that, if we continue to make this game dangerous, moms are not going to let their kids play football, and it's going to end the game? I don't think that's going to happen. And if that's why the NFL is doing this, because they think their game will become extinct because people are going to get hurt, I think it's stupid. Look, auto racing, people die in NASCAR, in Indy race. Motorcycle, there are tons of sports where people die. Boxing, people die. People die in all types of pursuits of happiness and making money. And you can't, especially in the sport of football, you can't legislate everything so it's going to be safe for everybody. That's a complete contradiction. So I think the NFL needs to stop doing it. Stop doing it.
And you know the thing too, it's like if it'd be one thing if we were teaching this stuff when they start playing football, but it's like every level there seems to be getting softer at every single level.
Right.
Like in college, it's like, I mean, college is outrageous too with the targeting penalties. I mean, we're throwing kids out of the game.
Ridiculous.
For targeting penalties. And especially when you're on, some of those guys aren't going to the NFL. It's the greatest time of their life, and you're going to kick them out like the first play of the game if they have a targeting. It's dumb. I understand that, but and it's just all these narratives that go on, like, kids aren't going to want to play defense now, and all this stuff. I don't buy into any of that. I really don't. And my whole feeling on this kind of stuff, it's like, do fans want to see players get hurt? No. But at the same time,
part of the game.
At the same time, I think the people that are always throwing this stuff out and really harping on it is the media.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just calling it like it is. I always
the Tua stuff.
I always
was
feel
crazy.
like, it was crazy, but I always feel like the media just kind of pushes and pokes and just keeps talking about it. And then the coaches got to answer. And then the league feels pressured that they have to do something. It's just a chain effect from there. This game is not safe, like you said. The players know it. There's a reason why when everybody's bitching that they're getting paid outrageous amounts of money, it's because you can die at any moment on that field. That's why they get paid that much money.
Exactly.
And they know it.
And how often does that happen?
It's never happened.
Rarely.
It's never happened. And but listen,
we're killing people with a lot of other things that need to be addressed.
But football is a lot more safer now than it used to be.
Yeah.
And
I'm okay. Like, there's certain steps that we've taken for player safety that are good.
And I don't want to sound, bad here, because I'm aware of Webster with Pittsburgh, Vincent Jackson in our backyard, Junior Seau, Demaryius Thomas. I'm aware of all that. I get that. So before anybody starts putting that out there, yes, I'm aware of that.
And so are the players.
And the players are aware of that too. They sign up. I'm not saying that makes it any better. I'm not. Okay. But I'm just saying it happens in football. It's the same thing in auto racing. I mean, NASCAR is getting, the drivers are going insane because the cars now were supposed to be safer. Now they're unsafer again.
Right.
And cars are blowing up on fire like more than ever this year. And concussions are happening. I mean, listen, it comes with everything.
Yeah. And sometimes the best intentions, the residue is completely the opposite of what you wanted. And what you're ruining the game and you're bringing the credibility of the game into question with these stupid calls.
And then last night there was a play. Game-changing calls. Last night there was a play. I think Justin Fields got sacked. And it was a game-changing play because they would have punted it away. And there comes a late flag. and I forget, it might have been Jonathan Allen. He got called for roughing the passer because he sacked Justin Fields low. What the hell are you going to do?
Yes. He gets knocked down and he's on the ground and Justin Fields' legs are right there in front of him, right? He got knocked down on the pass rush. So he's laying on the ground and Justin Fields has the ball and his legs are right there. So what does he do? He reaches up and tackles him. And that's a flag.
So what? So you're telling me
this is exactly what I was saying yesterday. These referees referee the game by the letter of the law. You can't hit the player low, the quarterback low while he's throwing the football. But in this case, the player was knocked down. The defensive player, the only place, so he's got to get up, grab him by the waist, and bring him down. Come on. This is so stupid. In that situation, you say, oh, in the spirit of the game, he didn't hurt Justin Field by grabbing him on his legs. It's not like he's forcibly running into his knees.
Yes.
That's what you want to take out of the game.
Every player,
he just reached up and grabbed him. Come on, dude.
And literally, what you're telling the defensive player in that moment is you can't hit low, you can't hit high, so your tackle box is here. This is it.
He's laying on the ground.
But this is it. You're telling him that you literally have this much of a space right here. This is it, right here and this wide for Justin Fields' sake.
Right.
That's all you have to hit.
Right.
And by the way, when you're doing that, make sure you go like this when you're coming down. It's silly.
It's silly. It's silly. And they need to just stop. And why are they doing it? Oh, because they feel like they're going to get sued? No. Because backup quarterbacks can't play in this league. I'm sorry. You have backup quarterbacks for a reason.
Suing? Who is like? That's what I'm saying though. Like fans don't want to see this stuff they don't want to see guys get hurt. But at the same time, if a serious injury happens, is a fan going, "Well, I'm not watching the NFL again. Well, I can't believe this."
If that's what
nobody's doing that.
Exactly. They think that they are. Oh, the game is going to get too brutal and people won't want to watch.
People are begging
Shut
you.
The F up.
People are begging for the game to be more brutal.
Yes. I mean, it's everything is so everywhere we don't make everything so. Everybody's got to be safe. Be safe. I never say that, by the way. Never tell anybody be safe. No, don't. No. Live your life. Live your life. Don't be safe. What did Tortorella say? Safe as death. Safe as death. You want to be safe? No, I want to be safe.
It's so
I
true.
want to live my life.
Like Richie P just brought up here, like an experience he had with seeing Tom Waddle coming across the middle and John Lynch knocking him out on cue. I don't. That seems like it was before my time, obviously.
Yeah.
Maybe you remember that or something. But yeah, I mean, you had these guys who were identifiable, thumper, hard hitter. I don't know who's a hard hitter anymore.
Oh, you can't hit anymore.
I don't know who these guys are. I knew that John Lynch could hit the shit out of people. I knew Brian Dawkins could do the same thing.
Yep.
I mean, we all knew who these guys were. I don't know who they are anymore.
And guys know now, like the concussions are bad. That's not what we're saying. Listen, Rondé never got a concussion. You know why? Because he never tackled with his head. There are definitely ways and techniques.
There's bad form tackling now across the board.
I do not want people using their helmet as a missile. That said, if your helmet contacts another guy when you're trying to hit him with your shoulder, that's not a penalty. I know when a guy's using his head as a weapon. Wow. I know when I see it, and those are things that need to be flagged. And if you want to flag a guy and put him out for 2 series, okay. But just throwing guys out of the game now, if it's egregious and you can tell that it was definitely intentional, throw them out of the game. I'm okay with that. But there's too many of these hits go by the letter of the law. Oh, the side of his helmet hit the side of his helmet. So that's a helmet on helmet. No.
When I read that rule book the other day, was the rule book that much minutia back in the day in the 80s? And
no,
I can't imagine that we had an 1,000-page encyclopedia of how to hit somebody.
No,
written in the rule book.
No,
you just played.
Yeah. Look, we you get rid of the clothesline. Good idea. Get rid of the horse collar. Good idea. There's get rid of the crackback block. These are good.
One of my favorite
ideas.
My favorite memories is that old footage of Warren Sapp in 2002 where he picked up Chester Taylor and just slammed him. I think like a bug. He squashed him.
Yeah.
If he did that nowadays, there'd be a whole brawl that would ensue, and everybody would be calling him a dirty player. It's like
terrible. All right, we're going to finish up with Brady here.
Yeah.
We got JC Allen coming up in just a little bit.
Young, but we get the pervading sense when you talk to guys in the locker room that this team hasn't played its best football yet, or that points get left out there. How close do you think this offense is to being where you want to be?
I think we're just going to work at it every day and, get to be as good as we can possibly be. I think that, what we can be, and compared to other years where I've been here, I don't think that's really what a goal is, I think we got to maximize our potential. And there's a different team, different group of guys. I don't think any of us have played to the level that we're capable of. And, we're going to keep pushing at it and try to put a little pressure on each other to bring the best out of us.
Tom, Robert Hainsey said he's starting to see the field the way you see it. Can you just talk about that relationship between the two of you and how he's progressed in the first 6 weeks?
I like his confidence. I see it pretty good. That's one of my strengths. So I'm going to have to, he might need a little humble pie is what he needs. If that's what he's. I know. No, he's doing a great job. Yeah, he's doing a great job. I love him being in there, and he's really stepped into a tough position to play, and proud of him for his effort and his commitment. And he's means a lot to him. I think everyone feels that from him, like how much he cares about what he's doing. And that's important when you're with a group of guys that are, there's a lot, we all put a lot into it, and you want to see young players, especially, guys like that really accept the responsibility that comes with being a starter, then that really important position on the team, like center. And just really, really proud of what he's accomplished thus far.
That's a lot different answer than he had in the preseason.
I know. I was going to say, I think that's my biggest takeaway from this whole thing. Is he seemed a little apprehensive when he had to go to Ryan Hainsey or Robert Hainsey, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell you what, when we talk about
a hell of an endorsement,
a hell of an endorsement. Yeah. When we talk about the offensive line, I don't even really bring up Hainsey anymore.
No, he's been really good.
He's holding his own.
He's been really good, and the fact that we don't talk about him is
a good thing. I don't notice him on the field.
Yeah, I will take an L on that one because I said go out and get a center. Don't put this guy in there. He's not. He hadn't been perfect, but he's been good enough, and he's not the issue.
There's a certain listener right now. I know he's listening because he's texting me at the moment. He's a big Notre Dame fan, and of course he's been telling me the Notre Dame offensive lineman, the Notre Dame offensive lineman. So
no, he's played. He's been a really pleasant surprise. I thought we'd have a lot more issues with this. Not that the offensive line is great. It's not. They're still not running the football the way they need to. But pass protection's been good. And for the most part, and they've done. He's done better than I expected him to do. I'm very pleased with what he's, and clearly Brady is too. He's very impressed.
Seconds to the shirt that you're wearing today with Chris Godwin, or
no, it just isn't my luck. It's warm. It was raining out there. Look for the heavy little cut. Yeah, it was clean, so it's a good shirt.
I mean, they were plenty of shirts with your face on them too. So.
I know they always do. I love anything for those guys. I'll do anything.
It's important to ask in this locker room post football who will be the best pickleball player.
Let's see.
The best pickleball player, since he's the new.
Mike would be really good with that length, power.
Yeah, he would.
The good players, it's really a finesse sport, So not a lot of finesse guys in the locker room. You got like a bunch of bulldogs in there. So I'd say Mike. Yeah, Mike. Gronk would be really good too, but he's not in there. So.
So what are we recruiting him for your pickleball team now and not your football team? I have a problem with that.
We could 100% see it.
I have a problem with that, Tom. I keep the recruiting for the football going before we do the recruiting for the pickleball. Okay.
Hey, I'll tell you what though. As a pickleball player myself, a little part-time pickleball player.
Yeah.
The player that to me I'd be the worst to face is Vita Vea, because he is so massive. Okay, I hate playing. There's one of our friends in my friend group that plays, and he's just bigger than all of us, and he gets right up near the net.
Right.
And you can't hit it past him because he's got wingspan and he's just big. Vita Vea is the same way, and he's quick. I think Vita Vea would be the best pickleball player on that team.
Not really finesse.
I don't need to be finesse.
Well, he's the owner. He says finesse is important.
What does Tom Brady know about pickleball?
He's an owner, and he plays pickleball.
I don't think he plays pickleball.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, JC Allen is going to join us, and we're going to talk some more Buccaneer football as we get ready to see this Buccaneer team take on the Steelers and what's ahead for this team. Quick break. We're brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Modern Medical Center.com. If you're looking to lose weight or testosterone replacement therapy, they are the great folks to go to. And also by JeevesLawGroup.com, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Have you had a situation where your car was totaled and you did not get the money that you thought you deserved? Insurance companies do that all the time. You still have a case, even if it was years ago. Give them a call at the Jeeves Law Group. Tell them JP sent you and find out if you have a case, any issues, any legal issues at all. The Jeeves Law Group will help you out with. JEEVES lawgroup.com. Back in a second with JC Allen Pewter Report. Stay with us.
Attention, if you are home shopping or looking for a refinance, and even if you already have the approval letter, you must call my man Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services. Scott has a brand new program available in the greater Tampa Bay area called the Community Advantage Loan Program. Get this, no money down, no mortgage insurance, no points, no origination fee, purchase or refinance, and loan amounts up to $647,000. Now, there are some application requirements. It must be a single-family home, 1 unit, primary residence, and have a minimum 640 credit score. The program only applies to certain neighborhoods, so you have to call to find out if you qualify. So call Scott Fitzgerald at 813-294-7595 or email him at scott@amstampa.com. Now, even if you don't qualify for that program, Scott will shop your loan around, get you the best rates, and won't charge you the huge upfront fees. And if you've had issues with your bank calling you back, Scott will return calls immediately or at least the same day. 813-294-7595 or email him, scott@amstampa.com. Scott Fitzgerald, MLS 386722, American Mortgage Services, 1000 North Ashley Drive, Suite 1020, Tampa, Florida. JP here for Italiano Insurance. If you've started a side hustle during COVID and the business has grown, well, you need business insurance because if you get sued, you could lose all your personal wealth if you're not properly protected. That's right, your home, your savings, everything could go. So get protected now. Call the great agents at Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799, and a real human will answer the phone and get you protected. If you haven't shopped your business insurance in a while, you could be overpaying. Rehabilitation clinics, veterans helping veterans. At Heroes Mile, we staff our rehab center with fellow veterans who can understand what you're going through. Our mission is to help you heal from issues that only your fellow veterans can truly understand. Located just outside of DeLand, we offer a full range of inpatient and outpatient programs dealing with substance abuse, post-traumatic stress, and military sexual trauma. We choose to serve veterans because we know how complex these issues are. You could choose to fight the battle alone or win the war together. We are the community care provider with the VA and also accept most major insurance. At Heroes Mile Rehabilitation Center, we have your six. Go to heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2. That's heroesmile.com or call 888-VET-NOW-2.
Ladies and gentlemen, let's rock. This is FanStream Sports with JP.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by BAMMC.com, Bay Area Model Medical Center and Chiefs Law Group. Also, Italiano Insurance. If you're having any issues with your homeowner's insurance because of the hurricane or, as we found out, 64% of you folks do not have enough hurricane or homeowners insurance. You're underinsured because the value of your home has gone up, or you've added different things and not given that information to your insurance carrier. That's not a good way to go about it, but a great chance to call Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799. Let them know what's going on, what your rate is. They'll shop it around, maybe find you something better because I know it's expensive, but also make sure that you are fully insured. You don't want to find out after the fact that you don't have the right insurance and be left with tens of thousands of money to pay for yourself after a storm. So make that call, 813-877-7799, and make sure you are properly insured. Even if you don't have an account with Italiano, call them. They'll let you know, and they'll also shop it around for you. Maybe you save some money. All right, let's welcome in our good friend J.C. Allen from the Pewter Report. What's up, my friend? How are you?
How you doing, guys? Happy
Good.
to be here. Happy to chop it up with you.
Good, good. Were you at the Bowles press conference? Was it yesterday or Wednesday? Were you at
Wednesday? Yeah.
Were you the one who asked that smart aleck question about the swelling and which I absolutely
The people want to know, right? The people want to know what's going
swelling
on
gone
with
down
Ryan
yet?
Jensen.
Was that you?
It was.
Well done.
You know,
Well done.
it can only be swollen for so long, right, JP? Like, you know, what's the
Do they not have an ice bag
diagnosis?
at one Buck place? Does anybody have an ice bag? Can we get it's been 2 months. Can we get the swelling down, please?
The rice, elevate that thing. I don't know, but still no injury update on Ryan Jensen. Still unsure whether he'll be able to return this year. But you know, I'm gonna keep asking here periodically until we get an idea of what this injury is. It's one of football's greatest, you know, mysteries right now. The Ryan Jensen injury.
I think
that happened on July 28th.
I think as Bowles, I think he kind of got the idea there when you mentioned it. He kind of like smirked and went, "I'm not sure about the swelling," but so I think he started to catch on. But I think it's funny. But I have a theory now. Here's my working theory that they're trying to do some unique stem cell thing with his, you know, he may have some partially torn tendons, and just instead of doing the whole ACL, PCL replacement or whatever they normally do, that they're stem celling it and they're trying to get him back, and they don't want to talk about the therapy or what. This is my wild theory. All I know is I see Ryan Jensen walking around. He looks fine, which is sometimes the case with an ACL anyway, but it just seems they didn't put him on IR long term, and it just seems like they're expecting him to come back. So maybe that's what they're doing. Who knows? But I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I tore my MCL years ago, and I'm currently wearing a knee brace now. So you know, the fact that he's up walking around with potentially a torn ACL, PCL, it's definitely what the heck's going on here. You know, just some clarity on the injury would be nice to know. To know if it's something that really is something he can return from. But either way, we'll find out one way or another later in the season.
Well, you know, I partially tore my MCL and got stem cell, and within a week, it felt markedly better. Within 2 weeks, I was doing everything. I mean, it felt great, fantastic, like completely healed. So, you know, it's and these and I look at Chris Godwin. I'd say he came back from an ACL in 8 months. Basically from surgery. That used to be a full 12-month injury. And I think, you know, from what I hear from these doctors, these stem cells that they're using in conjunction with these surgeries are making tremendous differences. So, it's a new world with stem cells and recovery.
Right.
So we'll see what goes on. I think it's super interesting, though, what they've been able to do. Speaking of injuries, catch us up what you know in terms of the Buccaneers secondary, because I think that's the biggest concern this week.
Right. It looks like Sean Murphy-Bunting, who had a hip injury, he had an MRI. We're going to try to get some clarity today on how that went when we talk to Bowles. It looks like he's probably going to be out. We know Logan Ryan, who was ruled out essentially on Monday with that foot injury. He's going to miss another week. But it looks like Carlton Davis with his hip injury is going to be ready to go. So that's good. He's practiced all week. Has been a full participant, so looks like he's going to be able to go. And same thing with Mike Edwards, who's dealing with a sprained elbow injury. Those things are finicky, but he's trending in the right direction. So, you know, you're not going to have Logan Ryan for a second week, and we know how, you know, vital he's been in that secondary, really allowing Bowles to play really some good schematic and disguises in that defensive backfield, with those guys being able to rotate into each person's spot. So we'll get another week of Keanu Neal back there sharing reps, and Zion McCollum will make. He'll be out on the field again this year. This week for his second game in a row, and he'll probably get some good reps too.
Yeah, and it's a great week. I guess you never want to have injuries, but it's not the worst time because of the game and the opponent with a rookie quarterback and Kenny Pickett and all that. But, you know, we've been talking a lot about the run defense and the lack of, I guess. And I think this could be an opportunity for them to get back on track, because Pittsburgh hasn't run the ball that much nor well with Najee Harris. Jalen Warren has almost looked better than Najee Harris. So with that being said, I mean, we've been talking about the play of Vita Vea a lot. Do you think this could be almost a get-right game for this Bucs defense and their run defense?
I do. If you look at this defensive line, there's been a lot of ups and downs, and there's been some slow starts to start the game. They've settled down in the second half for the most part and limited those rushing attempts and yardage by the offense on the other side of the ball. But you look at this Steelers team, and that's one thing they have not done well, as you mentioned, is run the ball. Their run blocking on that offensive line has not been up to par, and Najee Harris has not been able to find the yards to really make an impact on this team. So, when you're going up against a team who's struggling to run the ball and you're struggling to stop the run, it's kind of like the perfect situation to be in to kind of, as you said, get right. Now, Vita Vea has struggled mightily this year against the run. He's been pushed off blocks and really hasn't been the dominant player we've seen in the past.
Yeah.
You can make assumptions. Is it because, he's still adjusting with life after Sue? Is it, he doesn't have another guy like Akeem Hicks next to him?
Right.
He's still been very good in pass rush, but this is a game that he's going to need to really kind of set all those things straight, have people, quiet the noise, and really just be that dominant nose tackle that we've seen over his career.
When I look at the tape, I also see a lot of Dan Orlovsky mentioned this a couple of weeks ago when they played the Chiefs. When Vita Vea is in there, nobody tries to run up the middle. They try to go outside.
Right.
They throw screens outside, make him run side to side. And that, if I'm an offensive coordinator, that's what I'm doing. I mean, it's a waste of time for the most part. So I think that's probably affected his numbers a lot. Teams scheme around you. Now it's up to Todd Bowles to say, okay, we see what you're doing. Now we'll adjust as well and take advantage of what you're doing. So it's always a cat and mouse game. I think Vita's played okay, but I think just in general, this defense has been really, really good. Save the Chiefs game, I think it's been really, really good. And maybe, the second half against the Falcons, JC, I saw a lot of issues in the run game, but I think maybe they were tired a little bit, whatever, maybe bored, according to Devin White. But are you concerned at all about the run defense in general?
Yeah, I think it'll bounce back. I mean, this is a team that's prided itself on run defense for the longest time. And, they're going to get right. It's not going to be something that's going to be an issue. And you look at that Falcons game, too. And, I mean, the Falcons were running the ball in the fourth quarter still. And, I think gassed is probably, definitely a word to bring into that.
Injured.
When a team is, and banged up.
Yeah.
I think those two things definitely had a part to play, and I think Logan Hall is still, we've seen his ability as a pass rusher, still trying to get better as a run defender.
Yep.
And Marcus Mariota gained 61 of those yards on the ground too, just by breaking contain and scrambling. Those are things that you're going to have to lock down. But I think this run defense will get back to where it is. We've seen the pass defense really. You look at that Chiefs game, the outlier there was Travis Kelce, and the Steelers don't have a Travis Kelce.
Yeah,
so
that's for sure.
I don't know if there's really going to be an issue for this Bucs team to really contain the Steelers offense, especially with the level of play and a rookie quarterback under center.
Yeah. Two-part question here. First, on the subject of Julio Jones, if you're running the team right now, and I know this sounds harsh, but do you cut your losses and move on? Because I'm not interested, at least from a spectator, of doing this whole song and dance every week of, well, he's practicing and then he doesn't play, or he doesn't practice and this whole thing. And I just think he's shot. So you can start with that one. And then because of him not being in there and Russell Gage being limited, Scotty Perriman limitations on them as well, you're down to two guys once again that you can rely on. And that's Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. And hey, some teams don't have any guys, or they just have one. I get that. But do you think that they can manage that and get to where they want to be with just two guys like that in Evans and Godwin that are as reliable?
Yeah, well, first off, with the first part of it, with Julio, I mean, you look at what Julio did in that Dallas game, and he really turned some heads. His speed, he was one of the fastest players in the NFL on that end around and those deep balls. He almost came up with two of them. And the fact that I try to remind people this, Julio's injury is not a hamstring injury, right? It's a torn PCL ligament that he most likely suffered when he was diving for those balls, when he came down hard on his knee, when he was making that deep ball connection with Tom Brady, when he tried to reel in that other one on the sideline. So Julio's his injury has come from a situation where he put his body out on the line to try to make a catch. Those things happen. I mean, look at, ligament issues happen, and it's to no one's fault of their own. But, so it's not a soft tissue hamstring injury that he's been suffering with, and you're like, oh, here we go again, another hamstring. I think fans need to remember that and remind them that he got injured putting his body out on the line. Now, I get the whole song and dance of limited practice, game time decision doesn't go. The reason why they haven't put him in IR, in my opinion, is the fact that he's banged up. They want him as healthy as possible. Remember, we're in October. It's October 14th. We still have a long way of football. I mean, week 6 hasn't been played. We still have 12 more games to play throughout this season. You want Julio for down the stretch. You don't need Julio right now against Pittsburgh. You need Julio towards the end of the season and in the playoffs. That's when you need Julio. So Julio could potentially play these last couple weeks. I do think that. But I think that the way the Bucs think is, okay, could we use Julio? Yes, but we like what we have. We like our game plan. We like what our matchups are with Godwin, with Evans, and then to your other point, with our third wide receiver or with our third receiver. Who's that going to be? I think that's going to be a committee situation all year long. Brady is one of the best at getting the ball out of his hands and finding the open man. It doesn't matter who it is as long as he trusts you. Last week we saw a lot of the time it was Leonard Fournette. A lot of the time it was Cade Otton. He found Scotty a few times. You know, I think that's the situation that we're going to be in here. Is that I know you look at the money, right? And all the fans want to look at the money and say, well, we're paying him this much, we're paying him that much. Russell Gage is getting $10 million a year. He should be the number 3 option. Julio Jones got $6 million a year. He should be that option. He should be one of those options as well. But the reality of the situation is Tom Brady has always had a affinity for throwing to whoever's open. He's not going to force balls in most situations just because the guy's getting paid more than this guy. It's not the way he operates. So with Julio Jones, I think patience is key. I'm not worried about it. I don't think it's necessarily affected the Bucs in any of these losses. Maybe Green Bay, but I mean that was more so affected by Mike Evans and his suspension, I think, more than anything. I don't necessarily know if they had Julio, they win that Chiefs game. And remember, we look at those 2 losses against the Packers and Chiefs. Most people thought they'd come out of that 4-game stretch 2-2, but they thought the loss would probably come to the Saints, not Packers and Chiefs. They thought they'd beat the Packers and the Chiefs would be a tough matchup. So it's not time for panic mode on any of those situations on the record, on Julio, on the number 3 option in this offense, because I think that will change with time. I think Julio will be fine when football really counts. And I think this team is about to go on a nice little run here where they start to stack some wins.
Yeah, they should be 5-2. And if they're not after this 3-game run, then we got major issues. What's interesting here, JC, is the Bucs started as 3.5-point favorites, and that line has gone to 8.5. That is unusual in NFL football. Whoever set that first line blew it, and they're fired probably. But now it's because I wish I had the Bucs at 3.5. Oh my God! Even at 8.5, I'd be considering laying this. I think this is a game they get right. I think they're going to blitz the shit out of this rookie quarterback Pickett, and I think he's going to make some mistakes. I think the Bucs should be able to move the ball on this Steelers defense. It's been dreadful. Any way they want to. Their entire secondary is banged up. This should be a huge day should be big for Evans, for Godwin, anyone else wants to play. This should be a beatdown, and if it's not, then we're going to have to be asking questions. Would you agree?
I definitely agree, and I think that you look at what Pickett's done in 6 quarters, and he's been behind the 8 ball all last week against the Bills. But I think when you're talking about a rookie quarterback, it's twofold, right? You can probably goad him into making some mistakes. He might get flustered out there, but at the same time, he's got nothing to lose, right? So he's going to be taking chances that maybe Mahomes or Rodgers wouldn't take. Those making throws that most people would be like, oh, you threw that ball, but those are where sometimes magic happens. And, I was talking to Jamel Dean, and it's about staying focused and making sure that you're knowing your assignments, you're playing, sound technique and fundamentals. I think this is a great game to get back to technique and fundamentals, and I think that's where some of these issues have occurred on defense. So, the Bucs in all right. I think they should easily cover that 8.5. I think they should beat them by at least 2 scores, to be honest. But Mike Tomlin's going to have these guys ready to play, and the Bucs are going to have to play their A game. And there's going to be different situations, and that the Steelers can come after them. Cam Hayward is one of the Brady said he's one of the best defensive tackles he's ever played against. He's going to be lined up against Gedeke a lot, and he's going to have to figure out that matchup and figure out how they're going to help him with that, and whether that's leaving running backs in, double teaming them with Hainsey. There's going to be some situations where I don't expect the Steelers to roll over and die by any means. I think they're going to put up a good fight. I just think this team has too much talent, too much firepower, and I think that they're kind of starting to hit their stride a little bit here. And these are the games to do it in.
Yeah. JC Allen, Pewter Report. Keep asking that question about the swelling, my boy. I appreciate that.
I will do.
Hey, real quick, because last time we talked about the pub sub, we had a little bit of a debate earlier.
Pub sub, yeah.
We had a little bit of debate again about food before you came on. And
where are you on chicken pot pies?
There you go.
I'm not a fan.
Thank you. Thank you.
How old are you?
I'm 35.
35. Ooh, it's on the cusp of being. I mean, guys my age, we love our chicken pot pies, baby.
I like me some like pork pies and stuff like that. I make a mean smoked pulled pork pie. That's some good stuff. But I think I think the chicken pot pies is definitely like an older thing. The frozen foods started coming out, and I think that's a little bit younger kids. They don't care about the chicken pot pies anymore.
Yeah, like a listener texted me during our debate and was telling me about you got to try the one at KFC, and I'm like, are you kidding me?
They do have a good one.
No, that commercial is channel changer every time.
Oh,
it's awful.
God, no, you're kidding me? It's so good. Oh.
No, thanks for bringing sense to the show today.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks, JC. Appreciate it, buddy.
I think pies have gone the side of the wayward unless it's Thanksgiving, right? No one's really had
meat pies in general are kind of old school. Yeah, I get it, but man, good chicken pot pie. It's amazing. Grandma made a great one.
It's a little bit more prevalent up north where a hot chicken pot pie will warm you up on a cold winter's day.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, a good crust on a chicken pot pie. Oh, spectacular. All right, JC, it's a Pewter Report. You guys doing your pregame and postgame and during the game. It's all on the Pewter Report YouTube channel, correct? And the website.
Yes, sir. Pewter Report TV.
All right. Thanks, buddy. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend. We'll chat next week.
You as well. Talk to you guys soon.
All right. Before we get out of here, we don't want to forget our Lightning. They're playing tonight at Columbus.
Yep.
And our good friend Chris Krennis just put out the morning skate lines, and Cooper going to it already. Hagel on the top line. Hagel, Point, and Kucherov.
Yep.
Interesting.
Yep.
Paul, Stamkos, and Killorn. Stamkos centering Paul and Killorn. Interesting. Nemestikov centering Colton and Perry.
Yeah, so the school bus is no more.
School bus has been disrupted. And Kepke, Belmar, and Maroon. So little shake up there. Defensive line's the same. Hedman, Foot, Sergachev, Chernak, Fleury, and Myers.
I got to tell you what, by the way, we didn't get much into that. That's going to be a problem this year for the Lightning. I can't imagine that Breezeball's going to sit on that for majority of the year.
What?
That third pairing.
Oh,
No. I can't. It's only been one game. I don't want to overreact, but there's no chance that Hayden Fleury and Philip Myers will be a pairing in, I give it 2 months.
February. No way.
I'll give it 2 months.
Yeah.
There's no way, because Hedman's a little older. You see the ice times the other night?
Mm-mm.
Him and Sergachev played like 27 minutes, and Chernak had to play into the 20s.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want these guys having to play that that much, man.
Not in the regular season.
Not in the regular season. And those guys, I mean, that pairing is a 9 to 10 minute pairing a night. That's it. And that can't happen.
What are they going to do?
Breezeball's very creative. They're going to, Bogosian's hurt right now. They'll get him back eventually.
I don't want to get into, I think
the Ian Cole thing has hurt them.
Yeah.
To be honest there.
I think they see Bogosian and Ian Cole.
They gave him money.
I know. And the question is, did the other team, where did he come? He came from Nashville, right?
Ian Cole?
Yeah.
Oh, I can't even remember anymore.
Yeah, with the McDonough trade.
It's so long. He wasn't in the Nashville trade. That was Myers.
That's right. So, did anybody know about this ahead of time? And it's weird because this woman who put this thing out on Twitter, very detailed, so it looks credible, but she's not coming forward. If she's not going to come forward and they can't contact her and interview her and get evidence.
Well, it looks like they're in.
How are they gonna?
It sounds like they're in the process of it. I mean, Emily Kaplan did like a little report on it during the game. Gary Bettman was asked about it as well and said like they're figuring all this stuff out. I mean, like I said, they don't have a policy, so it's all kind of.
Yeah, and this is not to absolve the NHL, but it's like it's the same thing with the Deshaun Watson situation. How is our justice system not handling this? We leave it up to sports leagues to protect women from predators, and I'm not saying Ian Cole is. That's not what I'm saying. But, I mean, it's like we put all this pressure on these sports leagues to do something about these guys. Well, where the hell are the cops? Where the hell is our justice system? If predators are out there doing these things, shouldn't that be the first line of defense? And I'm not absolving the NHL or the NFL about this, but it's just Jiminy Christmas. What are we doing?
Hey, also, too, at the end of the show, I said I was going to get to it. My UCF Knights last night.
Yes.
My goodness, folks. Like
That was
I said,
a beatdown.
beatdown in the bounce house. How'd you like the space uniforms? They look good on TV?
They did. They look good on TV.
I'm telling you.
The whole show was very interesting. Very, very interesting.
It's a good one, a show.
Yeah.
56 unanswered points. It was a 14-13 game at one point in the second quarter. Totally just put on the acceleration. Like I said.
They hit the afterburners.
They did. Louis
The
Riddick
booster rocket shot off at the second quarter.
Louis Riddick had so many references to that. It's like every time they were trying to find new ones.
That's good.
But it was great. It was a good night at the bounce house, and rank my UCF Knights.
They
It's
gotta be
okay.
ranked. They gotta
It
be
is
ranked.
okay.
They
You
gotta
can
be
take
ranked.
out 4-2 Kentucky. I promise it won't hurt.
Yeah. I get it. Other interesting lines here this weekend. I'm looking at the Cardinals. The Seahawks are 2.5-point underdogs at home against the Cardinals.
Oh, please. I'm rocking with Geno Smith all day.
Absolutely, man. There's no respect
I'm
for
loving
the
the
Seahawks.
Geno Smith, man.
Go Hawks. The game of the week, 4:25 on Sunday. The Bills at the Chiefs, the AFC Championship preview. The Chiefs
winning the
are a
game.
2.5-point underdog at
Garbage.
home.
Garbage.
Take God, home underdogs
Garbage.
all week long. You know.
Josh Allen doesn't win close games.
No.
It's a knock on him. Mahomes does.
Cowboys and the Eagles on Sunday Night Football, bro. I'm here for it. The Philadelphia Eagles are 6.5-point favorites against the Cowboys. Watch out.
Give me the Cowboys.
That game's going to be close. That game's going to be closer than that.
Give me the Cowboys.
There's another game that started at 1, opened at 1, Eagles, and is now 6.5.
They're shafting the Cowboys there.
I never
Kidding
liked
me?
to, be on the Cowboys chain, but well, they haven't announced Dak's not playing.
Okay.
Yeah.
4-0 since
I know.
then. They beat
I
both
know.
teams that were in the Super Bowl without him.
I thought Jerry was going to throw Dak in there. I'm like, you moron. And then the Broncos and the Chargers on Monday Night Football.
Oh, God.
Yeah. Chargers are 4.5-point favorites.
Can't
on
do
that
it, man. I can't do it.
At least I want to watch the Chargers. I always want to watch the Chargers. What other games of interest here before we get out of here?
A lot of filler this week.
Yeah, 49ers are at the Falcons. The Falcons are 5.5-point.
Yeah.
You know the Falcons are 5-0 against the spread this year.
I know. They're a
5-0
great
against the
betting
spread.
tool.
They are.
Yeah, that game right there will get 0 watches out of me.
Patriots Browns.
Yeah, it ain't happening.
2.5-point favorite. The Browns are
Not
over the
happening.
Patriots.
The Jets are beating the Packers this week. Upset of the week. 7.5.
That's because the Packers suck.
The Jets are going to be 4-2.
Wow. Okay.
Packers are frauds.
Packers are back home. The Colts are that one game started as a 7-point favorite. It's now
that
down to
game's
2.
disgusting.
Jags and Colts. I think I might go Jags in that one. Vikings and Dolphins. The Dolphins are started as a 3-point favorite, are now a 3-point underdog.
Should be more than that.
Yeah, because Tua is not playing.
Sorry, Scott Reynolds. I don't think Skylar Thompson's going to do it in this one.
Really?
The Kansas State alum. I don't think it's happening.
I love Skylar Thompson in preseason. He looked good.
Okay. No.
You know what? I think I'm going to play that game. I think I might play the Dolphins and I get 3 points. A lot of home underdogs this weekend. A lot of the Saints are a home underdog against the Bengals. I guarantee if you bet all the home dogs, you're gonna come out on top this week. I think that might be.
That's a sneaky game too, right there too.
The Giants are a home dog against the Ravens, 5.5 points.
Sneaky game. Right
Yeah,
there.
wow, a lot of home dogs this weekend. Pittsburgh Steelers are 8.5-point home dog. No, there's no way I'm betting on the Steelers this week. But the Buccaneers, they have disappointed in terms of running up points. That's a big spread. All right, our thanks to J.C. Allen, who joined us today, and Pat Burnham from FloridaStateRivals.com. So check them out, where our other podcast is out there for the Clemson game this week. Go Noles. Not real confident in that, but hoping they can pull off a big win. And obviously, go Bucs on Sunday. Go Bolts tonight. And we will be back on Monday with all the fun and frivolity. So we will see you then. Have a great weekend, everybody.